Dan diam, diam. Sini lah, ya, diam. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hello everyone and good night from Indonesia. Welcome to our international webinar Manajemen Berprestasi dan Inovatif Masif 1.0 with special theme Dare to Reach Your Dream held by Student Association of Management, Faculty Economic and Business, Rio University. We will discuss a lot with our international speaker, Kak Atika Haira Begawan, about scholarships and study abroad. But before we jump to the main agenda, let's hear a speech that will be delivered by our executive of Masif 1.0, Negi Rekani. To Negi Rekani, time is yours.
Entire committee of the international webinar Masif 1. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the world, the Master and the Creator of everything in the universe, for enabling us to meet together in this international webinar. Peace and salutation be upon to the noble of Prophet of Islam, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The Honorable Deputy Dan 3, Mr. Dr. Denny Setiawan, SE MEC, the Honorable Head of Management Department, Mrs. Dr. Andewi Rohmawati, SE MSI MED, the Honorable Coordinator of Program Studi Management, Mr. Marhadi SE MSc CMM, the Honorable Bupati Himpunan Mahasiswa Jurusan Manajemen, Muhammad Adinul Amri Yuska, the Honorable Speaker in this webinar, Ms. Atika Haira Begawan. Thank you for your coming today. I would like to say thank you very much for the entire committee of the international webinar Masif 1.0 who had hard work to prepare this webinar with good, and especially for all the participants of this webinar. The theme of this webinar is Dare to Reach Your Dreams. In this session 2, we will discuss about scholarship and study abroad with a truly amazing speaker here. At this conference, we will get a lot of important information. By this, I, who represent the entire committee, hope that this conference beneficial to all. So, my opening remarks I cover with wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Negi Rifkani, our Chief Executive of Masif 1.0. Okay, let's go to the next agenda. A speech that will be delivered by the Chairman of Management Student Association, Kakanda Muhammad Adinol Amri Yuska. To Kakanda Adinol, time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah,
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin, assalatu wassalamu ala asyrofil mursalin wa ala alihi wa rasulih jamain, amma ba'du. Praise to be Allah for the abundance of rahmat and the given of still being given health, so what we can gather in this webinar. Salawat accompanied by greeting say to Lord of nature, to the King of nature, namely the Prophet Muhammad, be saying Allahumma sholli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad. Especially the one respect the father of Mr. Marhadi SMSC as the head of the Management Study Program, Faculty of Economic and Business, University of Riau. And I respect the present Mr. Atika, who took the time to be present tonight. And the webinar committee and HMJ Management Administration are proud of the evolved. This is the first time grading using English. Sorry if it's still not perfect. A little about this international webinar. This webinar is first time for HMJ Management in collaboration with the Management Department on Health and international event. I hope that fellow students, especially the management department, can seek deeper knowledge this so what they can be applied in the future. I hope this event is successful and goes well, and thank you. Hidup mahasiswa Manajemen Jaya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Kakanda Muhammad Adinol, the Chairman of Management Student Association. Okay, let's move on to the next agenda, a speech that will be delivered by our Coordinator of Undergraduate Program in Management, Faculty Economic and Business, Bapak Marhadi, SE, MSc, CMM. To Bapak Marhadi, time is yours.
Oke, dengar suara?
Dengar Bapak, audible.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, good night, ladies and gentlemen, to all participant, my student. Thank you to each and every one of your for being here today at this wonderful fest. Okay, my name is Marhadi. I am coordinator study program management undergraduate, economy and business faculty, University of Riau. It is such an honor for me to speak on behalf of the study program. Okay, let me begin by giving you a warm welcome to the Reach Your Dream webinar. Before we get started, I would like to express my appreciation to the keynote speaker tonight, Ms. Atika Hera Begawan. Thank you very much, Ms. Atika. Welcome in webinar in Management Department. Are you okay, Ms. Atika? We stay here?
Yeah, hi.
Hi. Okay. Thank you very much because you're to stay here, and we hope you can to sharing knowledge and sharing experience how to get the scholarship in study abroad, the specific in United States. Okay. We know that Ms. Atika Begawan is from now he's taking the PhD program, and so we generous help us to make this webinar come true. Specific himpunan mahasiswa jurusan manajemen department, lecturer, and all participants we could not have known we will tell you. Okay. Thank you for attending, Ms. Tika. And we know that Ms. Tika, who is currently completing her PhD from Michigan State University, And hopefully tonight even will provide inspiration and motivation for all of us and of course for our fellow students. Okay, it is hoped that all participants will be able to follow this activity to completion and discuss with Ms. Tika regarding how to obtain scholarship abroad and how to exist in study in the specific in United States. Okay, thanks God. And now we to get the management undergraduate program receive an accreditation from the National Accreditation Board. This is a very good achievement to improve the competence and skill of the student and graduate in the first competition. Okay, therefore, with this activity, students are expected to able to learn and build network to develop their skill and competence. And we know that the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology have many the program to international students. The specific like us is ISMA. Okay, ISMA we start this year. Student exchange and many the program to achievement the motivation and to achieve your competence. Okay, hopefully next year management student can join this program. I hope that. Okay, well, I don't want to take too much of your time. Thank you, the amazing resource person, Miss Atika, who to take the time to come online to provide knowledge and experience for all of us. Thank you for your attention and cooperation. Bila taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Bapak Muhammadi, our coordinator of undergraduate program in management. Okay, now it's time that we're waiting for, but before we go to the main session, we will give free credit or free cell phone calls to the 5 people with the best question to our incredible speaker, Kak Atika Haira Bagawan. So make sure that you keep listening the lesson that Kak Atika will give to us, and make sure that you will give Kak Atika the best question, because we are providing you free credit or free cell phone for the 5 people with the best question. And also we want to thanks to Pak Marhadi to provide free credit to our participant on this webinar. But before we jump to the main session with Kak Atika, I would like to read the CV of Kak Atika. Kak Atika Haira Begawan has so many experience, such as research assistant, human development and family studies, Michigan State University 2019 until now, co-manager in research in autism and development disabilities lab or RADD lab, research assistant, special education and communication disorder, New Mexico State University 2017 until 2018, research in the field of autism spectrum disorders, community support specialist, Tresco Insulas Crisis, New Mexico 2016, assisted adults with differing abilities in their home and community. Wow, what an incredible experience from Kak Atika. And also talking about education of Kak Atika. In 2017, New Mexico State University, Special Education and Communication Disorders, Special Education Minor, Counseling and Educational Psychology Crimson Scholar with honors. In 2019, New Mexico State University, School of Teacher Preparation, Administration and Leadership, Special Education Graduate Certificate in Autism Spectrum Disorder, and expected in 2024, Michigan State University Human Development and Family Studies, Child Development Advisor Dr. Sarah Douglas. Okay, anyway, before that, I want to greeting Kak Atika. Hello Kak Atika, how are you? And good night from Indonesia.
Hi there. Good night to you all, and good morning for me.
Okay, good morning from United States, Kak Atika. Okay, anyway, we welcoming to you all our international speaker, Kak Atika Haira Begawan. So Kak Atika, time is yours.
Before we start, is it okay if I can share my screen?
It's okay, Kak. You can share your screen.
I think you guys need to allow me to do that.
Okay, please, our host, please allow Kak Atika to share screen.
All right, perfect.
Okay, Kak.
Thank you. All right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
and good night for everyone. Thank you for being here. I feel honored to be invited to talk about my trajectory, my educational trajectory to be exact, and how I got here. But before I start, I would like to talk to you all. I know your background. You guys are undergrads, right? Undergraduates, business major, correct? If not all, most of you?
Most of all from management, but some of us majoring different, not from business all.
Okay, so management, cool. All right, so the one thing I would like for you to put it in the chat, or just feel free to direct message me if you'd like, if you're not comfortable with putting it in the chat. What do you want to be when you grow up? Like, what have you envisioned your future will be? I'm monitoring the chat, by the way, so I can see if there's no one responding. Cool. Someone says he wants to be a lecturer. Cool. That's amazing. Again, if you're not comfortable putting it on the chat where everyone can see, you can direct message me. That's totally fine. I'm not going to call your name out. Awesome. Lecturer or entrepreneur. All right. Someone said an actress. Amazing. That's great. Entrepreneur. Cool. I'm seeing about more than 150 of you all here. Some might need more answers. Businesswoman, yes. I'm good with wait time, guys, so we can be here for a while. All right, money driven, not an issue. I am too. Great, success. Need a couple more. So this is the kind of activity that I do every time I'm asked to speak, or whenever I do a guest lecture or things like that. I like to know who my audience is. And so when I present my material, even though it's already here, I can tailor it to what you guys need. So that's why. A flight attendant, that's amazing. All right, CEO, amazing, cool. So we have financial manager, great. So we have pretty driven people here, and that is amazing to see. All right, now think about resources. What resources do you have now? Any kinds of resources, whatever that comes to your mind when you hear the word resource. What do you have right now? Oh yeah, independent woman. We'll talk about that in a bit. So I'll give one resources. One of my resources is my family. So I consider them my resource. So what will be your resources? I just need 2 answers. Love it. Knowledge, support from family and friends. Yes. And your knowledge, it's yours, right? No one can take it away from you. So that's one resource that is yours. So we'll talk about a lot about resources and barriers in a little bit. Okay. Now, what barriers do you have? When you hear the word barrier, what comes to mind? Is everyone still here? Let's think about one barrier. Yeah, that's the most common barrier, financial, right? And we'll talk about that. We will talk about that in a bit. Great, thank you everyone. All right, so before I start, I'd like to introduce myself a little bit. My background is special education, so I love working with children with disabilities. And because of doing that, I thought about, hey, they are growing up, like they're not gonna be kids forever. So I decided to work with adults. And so I have experience in working with individuals across the lifespan, for those who have various disabilities in different settings. So home settings, community settings, school settings. So that led me to pursuing my PhD now in human development and family studies at Michigan State University. And I'm also working towards my BCBA, BCBAD, which is board certified behavior analysis, doctorate level. So the picture on the right, you see that is my lab right there. It's our RAD lab, Research in Autism and Developmental Disabilities. The kind of work that we do is how to support families of individuals with disabilities, and also just any other adults that work with them, let's say, for example, their teachers and their community partners and things like that. So this is just some of the lab members that we have. But it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. It comes with challenges that we'll talk about, but so far so good. I enjoyed it. All right. So the first thing that I want to tell you all that doing a PhD was never really my plan. All right. So this is how I got to where I'm at right now. When I was in high school, I always knew that I wanted to be a teacher. So I worked really hard to get information about special ed programs in the US. And why in the US? It's because we had the privilege to live there for a while, and I could see how it changed my family's lives, and how the teachers made so much impact. And it was for the better. So I wanted to be like them, and it inspired me to pursue the degree in the US because of, you know, just what I've seen there. So I wanted to be them. So I woke up like midnight until midnight. I think my last year of high school, because I really, really wanted to go to the US to do this. So that, you know, a part of that is just like being proactive and like knowing of what I want and actually taking those steps. It's a small step because like I basically knew no one in the US who was doing special ed program. And so I decided, okay, well, the first thing I should do is to look for schools with these programs and ask the requirements. So that's what I did. So I just go to their website and try to look at their requirements and what I should be doing. Okay. Now I got into a bachelor's degree and worked with children with disabilities in school settings and later on in their home settings. Like what I shared before, I also work with the adults in different settings. And this is the most important part, I think, that a lot of people don't understand. Like going to grad school for some people is not clear cut. So for me, for example, I didn't know that I want to go for my master's until my last year of college. So it was my mentor who told me that, hey, have you thought about grad school? And I said, well, grad school is hard. I don't know if I can do it. And she's the one that was really pushing me like, okay, listen, what are your barriers right now? What is your limitation of going to grad school? Is it funding? We can look for funding. I'll help you. Is it your imposter syndrome, which we'll talk about later? And she's the one that really pushed me like, you can do this. I'll help you every step of the way, but I think you need to go to grad school. So she talked to another professor in my department, and both of them really pushed me to doing grad school. Then after I got into grad school, it wasn't the same school. So I stayed in New Mexico State, and where I was doing my master's degree. And I taught an undergrad level class for my assistantship. So we'll talk about assistantship later. And so to get funding, so my school was paid for my master's and PhD. I didn't have to pay, the school paid for it, my insurance are paid for, and I get paid bi-weekly. So I was technically working for the university. And when I was doing my master's, my job was to teach an undergraduate level class for a year. And the year before, so that I taught on my second year, but my first year of master's degree, I did some research and teaching assistant with my mentor. So like in Indonesia, it's like asdos. Yeah. Then I also provided an in-home service for a child with autism. And this is another thing that I was like, okay, I'm doing my master's degree. Cool. I'll be done after this. But it was my second year of master's degree when I was teaching that undergraduate level class that I realized I wanted to do my PhD, because I really, really enjoy working with young adults like you all, who, you know, especially for pre-service teachers, that's who I serve, just to let them know, like, this is special education. This is about children with disabilities. This is about their family. This is about their educational needs. So I really, really like doing that. So I decided, okay, maybe PhD, but PhD sounds very intimidating. But again, it was my mentor who really pushed me and said that I have been seeing you as a doctoral student. So I think you should really apply for PhD programs. And I wasn't even sure if human development family studies would be a good choice because I've been in special ed all my life. But then I decided, okay, I think this is a good choice because I wanted to work with families. So that's why I changed my major from special ed to human development and family studies for my PhD. And now I'm doing research as my assistantship. I work with the community. And again, like I didn't know that I really wanted to be a board certified behavior analyst until a couple of weeks ago. Like I'm really new at this, but like that's just how my trajectory is. And it's not like I have it all figured out from the beginning. It doesn't work like that for me. Maybe for some people, but I just want to let you know that it's not everyone. Okay. In the end, I'd still be a teacher, but it's just a different kind of teacher. Okay. Let's see. There you go. All right. So one of the things that I did when I just graduated high school, I used to have a vision board. So it helps with making it visual. This is what I want to be, right? I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to go to the US. So that's literally what I did. I printed those pictures out. I put it on my vision board. And, you know, every time you get reminded of the things that I want to do, of what motivates me. And it helps with scaffolding what I really want. I know.
Sorry, everyone, please unmute beside our speaker. Okay, thank you.
All right. So in my vision board, it includes the map of the US, list of schools and the pictures. And again, like my main motivation. What is my main motivation? Is to being a teacher and to support children. Okay. I can see like how girls could do this, and I'm not sure how comfortable like the guys would do this, but it's not gender specific. You can always make it on your notebook or things like that. But I really I would highly suggest for you to do this because making it visual is different than just having it in your head. Okay. It helps to make it more real, not just a dream, but it's something that you can achieve. Great. Okay, now, like what I talked about before, you can start big or small with what you wanted to do. So think of the top of this triangle as that big goal of what you want to be, right? Entrepreneur, CEO, lecturer, right? So that's the top. So you can start with either way. You can start with an idea of what you kind of want to do, and then scaffold the process to achieve your big goals. So it's you go from the smallest thing into the biggest thing. I know the representation looks weird, but just think of like the top of the pyramid is like the top of where you want to be. Okay. Or you can start with your big goal, then think about how you can achieve it by making small goals. So you want to be a CEO? Great. Now, how can you achieve it? Okay. Now, think of this as having, can you see my cursor, my mouse? Can you see where it's going?
Oh, we can see that.
Okay, cool. All right. So think of it as like having stages, like cut it here and then cut it this way and then cut it more. Okay. So cut it as small as possible. It's not a template. It is your trajectory. Do not compare yourself to others. This is where a lot of us get stuck because we compare ourselves so much with other people that we forget that, oh, I have my own strength. I have my own resources. I have my own barriers. And how do I use my resource to overcome my barriers? But if you start comparing yourself with others who has completely different resource and barriers, it's not apple to apple. Okay. It's not going to be feasible and you're not going to go anywhere. I can assure you that. But if you start thinking about you, your resources, your barriers, what you want to do, then you might take a little step up, a little step up. They can go this way, they can go that way, but you need to think about how you're going to step up. Okay. But I know it's hard. It's hard to not compare yourself with others. It is very, very hard. But at the same time, it is about you. At the end of the day, it's your life. Okay? It's about how you're going to live with yourself if you're not going to take the steps necessary to achieve what you want. Okay? So just think of it like this. You can do either way and, scaffold as little as possible, take the smallest step possible that you think is going to help your own trajectory. Okay. All right. So I'm going to share my own barrier. First of all, I am a woman. All right. Societal norm. Women shouldn't be highly educated or we're going to scare men off. Well, too bad. I'm not going to lower myself for the other gender. Okay. And then why should women, but it is a barrier though, because I've been reminded constantly, and I know my fellow women here know this and can relate to this, right? We've been told repeatedly that why do you want to be highly educated? Like it doesn't make sense. You're a woman. I'm like, well, it is because I'm a woman. I want to be highly educated and I need to be highly educated. I want to reach my own independence. So that's why. And then there's some saying that why should women be highly educated? You'll be at home anyways. Okay, well, that's fine if what you want after graduation, well, I'm strictly talking to women here. If what you want after graduation is to be a stay-at-home mom, perfect. That's good for you. That's what you want, support you. But don't make it as if that's the default. And, women, if we have children later on, we're going to be the first educator for the children at home. So we need to be the ones that, okay, like I know what I'm doing. I know how to problem solve with my child, and all those kinds of stuff, because these things will arise, right? Women should not go far. Oh, this breaks my heart. Going far just for your education is not gender specific. Anyone can do it. Just because you're a woman, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't. And I'm thankful that my parents are very supportive. When I told them, okay, I'm going to do this, and my next plan is this, they listen and they understand where I'm coming from. And they're like, okay, well, how do you achieve what you want to do? And they train me on how to problem solve for my own, and knowing how to just overcome the barriers that they know I will face. And they made me realize that it's not going to be easy, and you have to have a plan. Like what do you want to do? Great, but how are you going to face them? Like the things that is going to be on your way. So but other people, extended family members, for example, I still hear these from them, and it is heartbreaking. But at the same time, like I have supportive, my main family members are very supportive, and they're the ones that I'll talk about later. There will be my resources. Like they're the ones that help me to cross over those barriers, right? Also, I'm Asian in a predominantly white country. America is such a white country. And Asian population are the minority. It can be a little challenging. Well, I shouldn't say a little. It is challenging. Why? Because with the privilege that white people have here, sometimes they don't understand that minorities face different barriers than they do. Let's say, for example, I wanted to pursue my BCBA, and one of my American friends, she's white, and she was like, why are you making it hard for yourself? You don't have to. And I told her, okay, no, listen, you don't have to. I have to. Like, we're not on the same level here. I work harder than most of my friends who are white Americans because these things, like because of my identity, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just how the system works, right? But I have my own hopes and dreams, and it's just one of the barriers. It's just I'm Asian in a predominantly white country, and that's just how it works. Okay, for now, unfortunately, that's why change is very important. Another one, I'm an international student. Acculturation process can be taxing. So what it means is that acculturation process is when you try to merge. Okay, so you are moving to a different culture, and to be able to survive in this different culture, you have to merge this new culture into your culture, into your existing culture, right? So that process is called acculturation, and it can be taxing, it can be tiring, it can feel lonely. Okay, just keep this in mind, that it's not always going to be, suns and rainbows and sprinkles and unicorns. But there are some things that it may be hard for you. So when I was doing my bachelor's, my friends were international students. It wasn't my departmental, like my cohort friends, like they're all locals. I was like one of the very few international students in my department. It was very complicated for me to be able to acculturate and make friends with them. I made some work friends, but not friends. My real friends were the international students, and it can take on your mental health. Also, funding. School is expensive, especially in the US. So those are the things that it's a big thing, right? And then it's imposter syndrome. Have you heard of imposter syndrome before? Okay, so just to save time, imposter syndrome is when you feel like you're a fraud. You feel like, why am I here? I don't think I'm cut out for this. I don't think I have what it takes to be here. I don't think I have something to offer. Like, why do they think I'm good at what I'm doing? I don't think I am. So you're doubting yourself. You have self-doubt that your skills aren't enough, that you don't have what it takes. That's called imposter syndrome. And this, my friends, will always be there. I still have it. So it's just something that people struggle with, especially when you're in this stage of your education. People see you as, a professional, as someone who knows their stuff. I do, but like, I don't know if I'm up to par. And like, there's always that self-doubt if I really know this stuff, right? So that's what's called imposter syndrome. So let's talk about scholarships now. How do I manage to attend graduate school without LPDP or Fulbright? I bet you guys know what these are. Very hard to get into, right? LPDP and Fulbright. I have several Fulbright friends, and they are very bright. But I was never interested in applying for them for one of the many reasons. But I have graduate assistantship from my campus. So typically, GA or graduate assistantship consists of three things. The first of all is a general graduate assistantship, and it comes, excuse me, and it can look like, working at a child development lab or office work and things like that. The second type is a research assistant. That's what I'm doing right now. I work in a lab, I do research. with my advisor. And then there's teaching assistant, the one in Indonesia, assistant dosen. So I help with grading, I helped with preparing materials, to teach when the professor's asking me to teach, teaching related stuff. And depending on the new university, the graduate assistant usually pays for your tuition. So you don't have to pay for your tuition. You get a stipend. Stipend means that you get paid for your work because, it's still a job, consider it as a job. And then your insurance are paid for. So to be able to go to school in the US and have your visa valid, you have to have insurance. It's because healthcare here sucks. So you have to have insurance so you don't go in debt. But that's why, different universities are trying to make their offer as great as possible. It's because, all of these things, and people have choices. So usually these are what the graduate assistantship will look like. And it really depends on the assignment. So you find the information about GAs. First of all, you can look on the university website, okay? So there's department. University-wide website for
Excuse me, everyone, please mute yourself, or the host please mute the participant. Okay,
and so I will show you a little bit of what it looks like on my department. Let's see. All right. So this is what it looks like on my department. This is the website, my department website, okay? So Human Development and Family Studies, I look for the teaching and research assistant information. So these are, and websites in the US, they are updated and they're pretty reliable. So you can just read like how it works here and the application process, type of assignments. So, all the info that you may need, well, almost all the info you may need. And you can just look for, you can count like, okay, for my living expenses, I need this, and every month I need this amount. Is my stipend, like the amount of money that you will get from your work, is enough to cover all this, right? That's how you can get your informed choices. Now, the second way is to look at the university level. So let's say, for example, this is the MSU university level posting for graduate assistantship. So look at that, graduate positions. So assistant that may be available. So if you look at that, let's say, for example, right now it's closed because it has passed already. So maybe 2022, 2023, right? So just take a look at this and see, like they have a lot of information. You just have to find a time, sit down, find a time, and go over them and read, take notes, okay? And so then we'll talk more about, and then talk to the faculty if you're not sure. But how? So when I was doing my master's degree, I made sure that my possible mentors know my capability and that I'm a graduate student material by being proactive. I establish open communication. I offer help on projects since I was doing my bachelor's degree. And for my doctorate degree, I contacted possible faculty that I want to work with and I spoke to them. So these are the list of questions that I asked when I was applying for my doctorate degree. So when it comes to research, these are the questions. Academic, these are the ones that I want to know. School, what makes your program different than others? It makes it look like you know what you're doing. and they want people who look like you know what you're doing. And you may know what you're doing, right? So these are the questions that I have generated on my own to know that, okay, to really know about the program, these are the things that I will need to know first, okay? Then when I was doing this, I also have to show you something. When I was looking for schools, it was pretty intense. But again, I was doing PhD, right? I'm doing PhD. So I know that this is the major that I want. So I was looking through, this is my first copy. Michigan State is not on this because it was on my second copy. But here on my first copy, I made sure that, okay, these are the schools that have the major that I want. And then I look on the website. Do they offer tuition waiver? Yes, they do. Do they have graduate assistantship? Yes, they do. Insurance. When is the deadline for their application? Do they need scientific writing sample? What other statement that they need, right? Resume, letter of rec. And this is the most important part, who to contact. Like, I try to make sure that I know there's a person of contact that I can contact them and talk about the questions that I proposed before, okay? I will, if you would like to, I can share this with you later. All right. So again, I think I've taken a lot of my time. I'm sorry, how long do I have left? Okay, well, all right, let's go on then. So to talk about that resources, again, my resources includes my experience, my past experience, my mentors, my willingness to learn. I seek for opportunities. If there's opportunities in the community of like what my professor has told me, I take them. Whatever opportunity it is, take them, because those are the ones that will lead you to your end game. So these opportunities what leads me to PhD right now, because again, it wasn't my plan in the first place, right? But because I take opportunities like this, that's how I know what I really want to do. Okay, my willingness to fail and my grit and perseverance. This is really important. You have to have grit and perseverance because this comes within you. This does not come within other people. This is for you. So, this is about your grit and perseverance. So maximize these resources, look for mentors, and look for these opportunities, maximize your own resource. This is mine, I maximize mine. Think about yours and maximize yours, okay? Quickly about Bronfenbrenner biological model. So this is about, it explains your trajectory here. So it just shows that everything in your environment affects your trajectory. You're the one in the middle. I know it says child, but this is you. But look at this. In your microsystem, the closest to you, school, family, peers, neighborhood, health services, it affects you. The mesosystem that comes with the exosystem, your extended family, parents' economic situation, media, schools, social services, and healthcare. And then your macro system, which is the attitude and the culture, right? The Indonesian culture, whatever your background, minus Padang and Javanese, like these affect my trajectory too. And the chrono system which is like the time of which everything evolves together. But all in all, what I'm trying to say is that everything in here plays a role. Everything in your environment plays a role. And it affects you, okay? Consciously and subconsciously, it does. So just make sure that you're aware of that. That's why understanding where you stand, what your resources and barriers are really important for your trajectory. Okay, so this is a takeaway for students. First, you don't have to have everything figured out. It's okay if you do one thing at a time. It really is okay. But make sure you really take control and maximize the opportunity of the things that you take, like that what you're doing right now. Let's say you're an organization. Perfect. Maximize the resources that you can get while you're in it. Okay? Imposter syndrome is real. Acknowledge it whenever you feel like you're doubting yourself. Just acknowledge that, okay, this is how I feel right now, and just take time to breathe and take time for yourself for a little bit, but come back up. Okay? Reach into your resources, maximize them. Again, be proactive, look for opportunities, and ask your role models to be your mentor. If you really like this one professor and you admire their work ethic and the way they teach, the way they do research, ask them to be your mentor. Ask them questions. They know a lot of stuff. You just got to ask for it, okay? Don't be afraid to fail. Again, the worst thing that you can get is a no. All right, it hurts. I know it hurts. Rejection for my papers. Whenever I get rejection, it hurts. But, take the time again and come back up. Look for other stuff. It's fine. It'll be okay. Grit and perseverance go a long, long way. Okay, it's not just a one-time thing. It's a continuous thing. Allow yourself to have big dreams. This is for you. Get out of your comfort zone. You can't stay there and be what you want to be. It's just not possible. Okay, because why? Because growth is uncomfortable. And that's when you know that you're growing. Okay, when it feels weird, that's fine. It always feels weird the first time. But then keep going with that grit and perseverance that you have. Just keep going. Okay, that means that you are growing. And I also have a takeaway for the community, for everyone else. Every person is unique. Please embrace and celebrate their strength. Every student is unique. Okay, so it is not possible to just say, oh, look at this student. They're doing this. Why aren't you doing this? Well, that's not possible because, again, their background is different. Their barriers and their resources are different. Okay, so embrace and celebrate the strength of individual students. And if someone is not doing well, avoid calling their names. Try to show compassion and ask how you can support them. Because in this, we're together. Okay, we're not in Hunger Games or anything. It's best to support each other. And that's how you can grow together. Okay, ask and give people chances and room to grow. So in order to do that, it can be challenging to start doing that, giving people the room and spaces to grow, but it is really important. And this is how we can support the students and for everyone, okay? And also communicate. If you need anything, talk to this person, and it goes a long way. Okay, a lot of people appreciate that small gesture of kamu apa kabar? Kemarin saya lihat kamu kayaknya kurang sehat, atau tugasnya kemarin kayaknya beda dari kualitas tugas yang lain-lain. Ada masalah kah? Ada yang bisa saya bantu? That goes a long way. As a student, I felt that, and I'm still a student. And if my advisor asks me about these things, it's the thought that counts. Okay, that I know that someone is there to support me. Okay, so I think I'm taking a lot of my time already. So think about these things again. After what we talked about, what are the barriers that you have? What are the resources that you have? Then think about, what do you want to be? Okay, with the models that I have provided for you, think about how you can scaffold your end game to your end game. Okay, all right. So, any final thoughts? Any questions? This is my email. I know I went really fast towards the end because I opened the chat, and I think I took more time waiting. That's fine. If anyone wants me to go back to certain things, I can do that. But and if you're more comfortable with sending email, I am pretty responsive with my emails. You can go ahead and do that. I can, you know, if you want to know more about graduate assistantship, feel free to ask. I've been doing it. This is my second time doing it. So, you know, and I think it would be very helpful if I had some kind of mentor that could tell me, you know, oh, this is the process. When I had to do it, I had to do it on my own because no one told me about it. Okay. So think of me as one of your resource. If you really, really want to do this, I can help you with that. Okay. So, all right. Well, thank you, everyone. Any questions?
Okay, Kak Atika, thank you so much for the incredible lessons, for sharing with us, and for motivation as well. But I want to highlight some of the incredible words that Kak Atika has mentioned about you, be confident, be pure, and keep going. Because we know like many people may be better than us, but there is no one as same as with us, so we just only one. So embrace our uniqueness. Anyway, for everybody who want to ask Kak Atika, you can raise your hand and unmute and sounding your question, or you can type the question in column chat and I will read the question. Just remember, 5 people from participant with the best question, we will give free credit or cell phone, and provided by our coordinator of undergraduate program in management, Pak Marhadi. Anyway, how we pick the best question? We will pick the best question by our community preference with the fairly. Okay, so I guess we have one question in column chat, and also we have question raise hand right now. So maybe I will start with the first one in the column chat. Anyway, Kak Atika, you want to? I will read the question from column chat you wanna ask, or just you know, like you will answer the question directly, both of them directly. So which one you preference, one by one or?
Let's do one by one. I think I focus better that way.
Okay, so Lisa Melinda, your question after the column chat because we prioritize the first one. Okay, so the question come from Lisa. Oh, Lisa Melinda. Okay, the column chat in the right hand is the same. Okay, Lisa Melinda, time is yours. Please give your question to Atika.
I think her connection is unstable. So is it okay if I read it?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So she was saying that, you know, on my PowerPoint, I talked about how doing PhD was never my plan. So she was asking how am I here doing what I'm doing that I've never planned before, right? That's a great question. So it's because I take the opportunities. I seek opportunities, and I think that is one of my resources. I am proactive. So like, okay, first of all, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but it's, you know, I'm trying to name what I did, right? I'm labeling what I did. So it is feasible for you. It is digestible for you, and you can process it and how you want to define it. So be proactive, right? So that's the word that I want you to know. So by being proactive, I get to know all these different opportunities around me on campus, in the community, in the school settings, and I take them, I try, and I learn a lot, and that's how I know I want to do things, right? That's how I know that I want to do certain things. So I move on with those things. I move on with those things and I start doing it. I take the first step. I try to talk to people about it, have mentors, and they're the ones who's guiding me on how, like, the process of getting a graduate assistantship. What do I need to do? And how is it possible for international students? It's very possible. But again, they need to see that you're serious about this, right? It can't be just like, oh, in the moment, I want to do this, but then the next day, oh, never mind, I don't want to do it. And then you stop trying. Well, that's not going to cut it. You have to really set that, you know, your foundation is that you want to do it. Okay. And it's not without my resources. It is really not without my resources. But again, what is my main resources is myself. That's why I need to maximize, enrich in myself. I need to have the knowledge, like what we talked about earlier, that is essential to what I need to do or I want to do later on. That knowledge is mine. No one can take it away from me, right? And I can always learn more. So that's what I do. Knowing that something that is yours and just keep going for it.
Okay, Kak Atika, thank you. Yeah, just keep going, everyone. Anyone who want to ask Kak Atika, you can unmute yourself and raise your hand or type your question in column chats. Okay, waiting about the participant will ask Katika. Maybe I want to ask Katika about something. You know, Katika, sometimes we are insecure. We're insecure with a lot of things in life. We're insecure, you know, going abroad and see many differences. And sometimes, oh my God, that person is really, really incredible. So how you manage with, for example, Katika, culture shocks and everything, because you're going to the West country with many things really different. So how you manage, Katika?
Yeah. So that insecurity is part of that imposter syndrome, right? The one that I talked about. So that, unfortunately, just, okay, I don't want it to make it feel like it's permanent, but it is not permanent. It comes and goes. Like, it would always be there. I still have it. I still feel insecure sometimes. Like, I'm not doing enough. I don't have what it takes to finish this. Like, I have so many papers. Like, how am I going to finish this? Like, very insecure, right? Just that feeling of doubting myself. I doubt myself that I can do this. Well, I think the first step is to just acknowledge this. Acknowledge that, you know, I'm feeling insecure right now, okay? And then work towards strategies that can help you. For me personally, when I started thinking that way, it depends on the level of insecurity that I have. If it's pretty bad, I go and look for something that I have achieved earlier, like in the past, that I know I've done really well. And then I look at them, I look at this thing, and I just keep reminding myself that I do have something to offer. I do have something to bring to the table. It may not be like what others bring to the table, but I have my thing, and it is important. And it is important. How I think, how my process is, and what I want to be and what I believe in are important. Okay? And just believe that it's not just you. There are many people that think the way like you, and you may just not know them yet, but these are the people that will be your community. And again, that's your resources, right? Go back to your resources and go back to like where you feel comfortable. So I had several times that I felt really insecure, that I wasn't sure if, you know, I can do this. Like, it's hard. PhD is very lonely. It is not about, for a lot of them, for a lot of us PhD students, it's not about the knowledge content anymore, but it's about that, it's about us personally, like how we feel in the community that we are in right now, like in the field. So whenever I feel like that, remember I told you guys that I used to teach an undergraduate class, and every semester they have to do this feedback form for me, and it's been given to me. I'm pretty sure you guys have it too. So, and I have those. I printed them out. I made sure I have it in a file, and those really empowered me as an educator. I go back to them once in a while to remind myself that my work is important, that it's needed. And I know that even though I don't think that I can do it, others think I can do it. So that means something, right? It's my resources that keep on telling me that I can do it. So yes, they're important, but at the same time, it's like, you're the one who needs to have that first step of like really trying to reach out. That's a first step for you. So trying to reach out, try to like, okay, do something, and don't dwell on, you know, these feelings. They're negative feelings, that's okay, they're normal. So don't think, oh no, like, no, I don't feel like that. That's toxic positivity, and we don't want that. Okay, so acknowledge it and take that first step. And what works for me may not work for you, but make sure you explore what works for you.
Okay, Kak Atika, thank you so much for the lesson, the spirit, the motivation. Yeah, many things that we can learn from Kak Atika. Anyway, for you guys who want to ask Kak Atika, feel free to ask. And if you maybe don't feel comfortable or confident with your English, you can ask Kak Atika by Bahasa Indonesia, and we will read the question with Bahasa Indonesia as well. You know, we're learning, we'll learn here. We're not judge anyone here, okay? So we have question from Nurul Arofa here about Kak Atika. What is your biggest motivation, and who inspire you to accept all of this, Kak Atika?
So my biggest motivation to get to this point is my hopes and dreams for individuals with disabilities and their families to have better support. That is my motivation. It doesn't matter where I am. I just want, in general, just individuals with disabilities and their families to have a better quality of life and the support that is appropriate for them. And that's what I do. That's what my research is. So that's my biggest motivation, is to, you know, be someone who can provide the support. So if you want to be a lecturer, think about why you want to be a lecturer. Think about, you know, it's scaffold that. Just one word, I don't think that's enough of an objective concept. It's still a subjective thing, right? You need to make your dreams objective so you can define them. Okay, I wanted to be a teacher, but what does that mean to be a teacher, right? It's a teacher. Okay, cool. But what does that mean? That means that I want to support children with disabilities and also their families by doing research, by teaching pre-service teachers. And so that's my biggest motivation. So that, I think the one thing that you can start is, you know, start to scaffold of what you really want to do. Define what is it that you really want to do, and how, like by what, right? And anyone who inspires me to achieve all this, honestly, was my brother. Like, I got into this field because of my brother, and it's, you know, my brothers, actually. I have two brothers younger than me, and I want them to be able to have the support that they need. And, you know, it's a constant, it's a continuous thing. And and they're part of my resources. They may not know it, but they're part of my resources. So yeah, those are the answers to Nurul.
Okay, Kak Atika, thank you for the answer. So everyone want to ask Kak Atika, feel free to to ask with Bahasa or with English. And anyway, just remind all of you that we will give free credit or cell phone calls to the 5 people with the best question. So, don't waste time, guys. Just ask Kak Atika because Kak Atika here, so don't waste your time. Anyway, we also have a question from column chat from Nurul again, but Nurul Fadila this time. So, what Nurul? So the question is, what happens if we do set up a goal, but sometimes there's a possible many other kind of distractions, maybe like trying to participate in event, volunteering in some event, to gain some skill that caught our attention, or even actually applying for some non-permanent job to seek some experiences that might kind of slowing down to get to that goal from the start. So is that okay? So what is your opinion about this issue, Atika?
Well, I really like this question because I struggle with it too. It's because I am so interested in everything and I know there are things that are important, right? Other than my own work, other things are important and I want to know, I want to learn. And it just comes from a root of curiosity. So what you can do is try to prioritize. Think about how it's going to benefit you. Okay, so let's say you have a goal and you are doing an important work right now. Let's say you're working with an instructor right now, and you want to be an instructor later on, and you want to be a lecturer. So that's a path that you have to take, right? Like that's one of the steps that you will take to achieve your goal. Great. But then there's a distraction. Well, let's not say it a distraction. It's an opportunity, another opportunity to do volunteer work. Well, think about how is it going to take your time? Is it worth your time that it's going to help you with your trajectory? How much do you think you can learn from this? Okay, if it's worth it, then prioritize. If you're going to say yes, prioritize what is more important, and make sure from the beginning that you tell these people that you work with that, okay, I have other responsibilities and I just want to make sure that I will try my best to be here. I'll do the work that you need me to do, but I just might need a little more time. So if you can accommodate that, I really appreciate it, right? And I'll try my best. So prioritize. But then if you think about it and you think that, oh, I don't think this is going to benefit me so much than the other stuff that I'm doing right now, then learn to say no. This is something very hard, and I still struggle with it. Like it's hard for me to say no to other projects. It's hard for me to say no to like, hey, we have a community project here. Do you want to come join? I still say yes to a lot of these things, and it takes my time and it takes toll on my health. Like it's tiring. But at the same time, if I know these are things that I want to do, it's going to help. Just think about it as bersakit-sakit dahulu, bersenang-senang kemudian. Okay? But make sure that it's worth your time, your energy, and your effort to what you want to do. And I think from this question, she knows what she wants to do. She knows her big goal, which is amazing. So just always keep that in mind and think of it how it's going to benefit you and your future.
Okay, Katika, thank you so much for the answer. Yeah, go for it and go rock it. Anyway, for the one who asks, yeah, just ask Katika about the question that you have. Every question about study abroad or scholarship about Katika, and if you don't comfortable with your English, it's okay, you can ask with bahasa. Jadi teman-teman yang ingin tanya langsung sama Katika, silakan boleh di kolom chat ataupun unmute langsung. Kalau mungkin belum bahasa Inggrisnya mungkin belum gitu confident, mungkin boleh bahasa Indonesia. Feel free to ask Katika dengan apapun, dan teman-teman bisa paham gitu apa yang mungkin belum paham dari yang disampaikan Kak Atika, sehingga semuanya bisa make it clear dan webinar ini bisa memberikan banyak manfaat. Oke, Kak Atika, we are waiting for the one who asks Kak Atika. Maybe Kak Atika, one of the problem in Indonesia students right now about English, and I feel it too. English, talking about TOEFL score, IELTS score, and everything. So what do you think about that issue, Atika, about that problem that currently happening in Indonesia about the English?
That's a really good one. Okay, language is something that will get you places. Okay, so start thinking as foreign language, not as something that you need, that you have to do, because it becomes a barrier for you. It becomes something that is weighing you down. You're gonna think of it as like, oh, well, this is another thing that I have to do. Like, I don't have time for this and whatever. But think of it as something that once you start, learning and getting it as much as you can, one thing at a time, it's gonna be your resource. One of my resource is my language. I can speak multiple, and that's a good resource for me. I speak a little bit of Spanish, and that really helps with how I communicate with Spanish speaking people. And it helps me to connect more and make more connections and networking. Because why? People like relationship. Okay? People will establish relationship with people that they know they can relate to. Okay? See this as a resource. So then you will be able to network better and your door will open tremendously. Okay, so first of all, your mindset. Don't think of it as something that, another thing that I have to do, but think of it as a resource. And second of all, just try to, this is what I did. So I learned English pretty accidentally. I wasn't put into any private lessons, but I watch a lot of movies in English, but I have the subtitle on in English, not in Indonesian, in English. Okay, it's okay if you don't get it. They talk fast. They talk really fast. Even until now, if some people talk too fast, I'd be like, yeah, no, can you please slow down? I didn't know. I don't get you. But learn by doing that. It's one of the most, I think a lot of people like, right? Watching movies. It's so enjoyable. And so that's the one thing that I still do. I still have my subtitles and I read. So all my senses are practicing. I hear the pronunciation. I see the spelling. And my brain just cognitively behind the scene is just like, oh, okay, so that's the phrase, that's the word, this is how you spell it, and this is what it means, and use context clues and things like that. So your brain cognitively is active while you're doing all these activities. So don't get me wrong, okay? So that does wonders for you. Watching movies in English with English subtitles. Because if you put it in English subtitles, then you're gonna focus on the movie, not like the language. And then books. This is what I grew up with. I grew up with a lot of books. I know that's a privilege, but we have libraries now. There are free books available on the internet. Start with something that you like, okay? Don't start with something boring. Like let's say, for example, I was very interested in psychology when I was younger, but psychology readings are boring. Like it's theory and it's all bad. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna start with that. Like I'm not gonna be very engaged in my reading, but I love Harry Potter books. Harry Potter books, amazing. It's like all the creative thinking there. It sharpens it's very imaginative, right? That's why I love it so much. And I was drawn into them. Whenever, I got a good grade when I was younger, my mom always asked, like, what do you want? If you can get a good grade, like you can get something. But this is like when I was younger. So it's still external motivation. And I would ask for a Harry Potter book. And that's just how I learn. And I may not understand back then, like all of the words, and that's fine. Just practice. It's okay. But again, start with what you like. Okay. Don't force yourself to go into your, campus books and like try to get it. Yeah, I know how it can be. It can be pretty boring. So, don't force yourself that way. It's just going to shut you down further. Okay. So that's why I said don't start there. You need to be able to have the motivation to learn more. And speak. I think there's no other way. I know it can be, like you feel embarrassed, right? And it's like, my English is not that good, so I'm not gonna say it. Well, you're not gonna practice if that's the case. And that's how people learn. Again, don't be afraid to make mistakes. And it's okay. That's how you will learn.
Well, Kak Atika, gracias for the answer. Okay, for everyone who still asks Kak Atika. Okay, so we have question from Kania here, Kak Atika, about how to make a great motivation letter. Yeah, it's really important. So how you handle it, Kak Atika?
Can you define more what it means by motivation letter? Like, is it for the grad school? Or
Kania, are you there? Can you maybe detail your question for motivation letter for what? Or maybe Kak Atika, you can share with us your thought about motivation letter, but maybe I guess everyone here is undergraduate program, but maybe for study abroad in master, I guess, Kak Atika.
okay, so let's start with that. And I think it's called, sorry, I'm trying to find where I put that little thing. Like a statement of purpose, is that it? So let's say that it's like a letter of intent, like why you want to apply. Is that, well, so let's start with that. So one of the requirements to apply for grad school is for you to make, a letter or two. And one of them is, a statement of purpose, of letter of intent, or a statement of professional and career plans, or something like that. Let me just, I can share this real quick so I can show you what I'm referring to. So something like this, right? Statement of purpose or statement of professional and career plans. So in this case, what you need, the first thing that you need to do is to outline. So again, this is why you need to know what you want to do in a, well, not like it not necessarily have to be the end goal, but what you hope to do. Okay, what you hope to do. And from there, you start with, okay, why do I want to do this? What got me here? Talk about your personal journey. Talk about your personal journey, what you have to go through to get where you at right now, because you're doing undergraduate right now. It's not easy. And I can tell you this, my master's degree was easier than my bachelor's degree. Yeah, it was like a walk in the park. My master's degree was easier than my undergrad. And, but to get into the master's program was the challenge, right? How can I assure them that I can do this? How can I assure them that I'm a good investment? Because that's what you are for the campus. You're a good investment. Okay, so then you need to tell them, this is my quality. This is what I know. This is what I have. This is the quality of the work that I can offer, right? And this is why this program is great, because I can enhance my skill on being a resourceful professor in academia and help the community to establish interventions that is culturally responsive. So those are just the snippets of my letter. Okay, so just scaffold. So I can't really give you a perfect template because there's no such thing as perfect template. And again, every program is different. The program that you want to go to and the program that I'm in have different requirements and different, just the way they see things, right? So I can't really tell you in specific, but generally that's what they want to see. Okay.
Okay, Kak Atika, I really agree with Kak Atika. We should know our program and yeah, balance it with the program that we want to apply. Anyway, we have question from Yunanda Habibi. As a Muslim, Kak Atika, have you ever struggled with the West country, or maybe your experience as a Muslim? Maybe we can say minority. So yeah, can you share us with us, Kak Atika?
Yeah, this is a very proper question. As you can see, I wear my hijab, so people can see I'm a Muslim, right? It's different than if it's males and people who don't wear hijab but they're Muslim. There are certain hoops that I have to jump. So here at MSU, we have several spots where we can do prayers. However, these spots are pretty far from my department. So then again, what do? Proactive. I ask my advisor if I can just do my prayers in the lab. Okay, again, my lab is not like beakers and like all those chemistry lab or like my lab is not like that. We're very social. So we're a social science department. So like that's not, our lab is like observational with videos and things like that. So it's pretty safe. And so I asked her, is it okay? Because it's far and it just takes time, it's not convenient. And I think you guys should really accommodate different needs. And it's pretty, that it takes courage to say that, but know that you're in the right here. So I know that I needed this space, and so I asked for it. And she was like, yeah, for sure, I'm sorry I didn't offer it to you earlier, but feel free to do what you need to do anytime and anywhere. It's like, okay, cool, thanks. But again, like you will encounter these kinds of issues, and when you just have to be proactive about it. And if you're talking about the kinds of Islamophobia, if that's what you kind of want to know about, well, alhamdulillah, where I am at right now, it's pretty diverse. So I don't really encounter them, or I don't think I've encountered them. But I did encounter one. It was when Trump was elected. And I was teaching at the time. I was teaching at a school, like I have my badge on, like a school badge. I went to a grocery store, and this dude, he's old. He looked at me just from the top to bottom. I smiled at him because I wasn't aware, like my brain didn't react like, oh my God, like he's racist. At the time I was like, oh, he's an old man. So I just smiled at him. I walked away. I looked back, he was still looking at me. So that was a little creepy, but then I was like, well, yeah, that's terrifying. But at the same time, I think it's just me personally, like I don't, whatever. And I'm in a grocery store. There's a lot of people. So I kept going, but it just made my brain think that, okay, well, that's what made me think that I'm Asian, Muslim woman in a predominantly white country. Like, I'm a minority. There will be some people who will be excuse me with my language, but an ass, right? There will be those people, but again, just stood your ground. Okay, stood your ground and just communicate. I think that's the most important thing. I was asked to speak in classrooms when I was teaching to like kindergartners, first grade kiddos about Islam. And it was really nice. I had a book about Islam. It was in English. I taught them about Ramadan, what I do, why I wear hijab, and I explained them in a way that is digestible to these people. I've had adults asking, why do you wear a hijab? Well, I tell them, well, my hair is a crown and only some people can see my crown. So like, that's how I explain it. Simple, quick, digestible, you know, just, it takes it takes practice, but you'll get there. You'll learn how to really communicate with the people where you're at, because the way I communicate here and where I was at in New Mexico are different. So, yeah.
Okay, Kak Atika, thank you for sharing with us. Maybe this is going to be last question, Kak Atika, from Kristen Natalie. Asks about, there are so many accents in this word, accent in this word, and how you can understand that accent when you use the list, like just American accent, and you find that it's a little bit difficult with a British accent. Anyway, Kak Atika, maybe you can add in with some, fun experience to motivate all the participants here. Maybe the weirdest or whatever that you will never forget in entire your life about studying in United States.
Okay. Well, when it comes to accent, there are some accents are thicker than others. Let's say I have friends from Africa and their accents are pretty thick. And so when it comes to things like that, you just have to ask again, right? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Can you say that again? Can you say it a little slower? And you can feel free to tell them, English is my second language. I tell them all the time. And that's your identity. And don't be ashamed of that, right? Don't be ashamed that English is your second language. Eventually, the amount of language that you have does not show the amount of knowledge that you have. So it doesn't mean that, you're still learning English, but you don't know your stuff. It doesn't mean like that. Like, you may know yourself really, really well. It's just like you have a limited language, but that's fine. Practice, right? So just ask them to reiterate what they were talking about, what they were saying, and then, well, one of the funniest was I went to Scotland for a conference a couple years back, and I'm not really good with British accents. It's just like, I don't know. It's interesting to me. It's really nice to hear, but like sometimes, what? I don't know what you're saying. So, and what's interesting is that even though I feel like that, I started to have accent, and I don't have British accent. But when I was there, I think it's just my code switching that, like, oh, to be able to understand, I might have to like do it on my own. I don't know, like practice myself. So it came out like that, and I started to, oh, okay, so this is the sound that they make, and this is what they mean, and that's how, I make that connection. But it doesn't mean you have to fake it. It's just, that's a process. And if you have certain accents, be proud of your accent. It's fine. You may think otherwise, but it's just part of you and your learning, and it's what makes you unique, right? That's your strength. So don't think of it as something that, oh, I need to take care of it, like I can't have this kind of accent. Just don't do that, because you're adults, you're learning a different language. It is more challenging for our tongue to be able to adapt to these different accents and language. So yeah, don't beat yourself up when it comes to those things.
Katika, your weirdest experience, please.
Oh, my weirdest experience as what?
Everything, your experience in college or with friends or whatever culture shock that you will never forget to motivate everyone in this webinar, Katika.
Let's see. Oh my God, I can't have it on top of my head right now.
Or maybe Katika, final statement to motivate everyone here. Final statement, you know, I know that everyone here want to go abroad, experience, you know, study in different area, different culture, different ideas and everything. So give us motivation and your last statement, Katika.
Okay, well, I guess I wouldn't say weird, but it was one of the best experience that I had while studying abroad is that I get to have a lot of friends. I get to have I get to network with people from different countries. I get to know different cultures, and it makes me look at myself in a different light. So it's when you stay in your comfort zone, you can't do that. It's very hard because you're in the same culture with people from the same culture, right? But when you start going out of your comfort zone, even if it's uncomfortable, you get to understand that humans are unique, that humans are you can't really predict human, and we're very interesting beings. And so if you start to open up, get yourself out there, even one person at a time. You don't have to be like, oh, there's a big gathering, I'm gonna go there. It can be uncomfortable, I don't like it, but I start with like one person at a time. Oh, I think I can be friends with this person, I'll be friends with this person. And then small group, and it becomes a big group, right? It becomes your group of friends. And my experience was that, you know, I had my international friends group, and they're the ones that I go to. Hey, let's go on a trip. Okay, let's go. Where are we going? White Sands. Let's go to White Sands. Let's go. And, you know, let's take this car, who's driving, and what do we need? Do we need to get some food or, you know, things like that? And we just go and have a road trip. And these are the memories that I will always have. And it's our memories. And it doesn't matter how much I'm telling you guys, like it was amazing, it was fun, but it takes one to know one. You have to do it first to know what I mean, right? So I can just tell you how fun it was, how nice it was, how it can be challenging too. It can be really challenging, but you need to be on that position to really understand what I mean. And to know that, to be able to do that is, you know, take your first step. Funding is one of the biggest thing for me when I try to apply for graduate school, because it is expensive. Graduate school is very expensive. It's thousands of dollars. But what is the first step that I can do? I can look at the website. I can look at the website, just browse, look at what are the other opportunities that I can do. And again, when you are doing your schooling in here in the US, you can work. Okay, may not be like the one in Australia that you are more aware of, but if you want to work, it kind of needs to be like within your major, and it shows that it's going to benefit your trajectory and your education. But you know, that's how you can make more money, and that's how you can you know, support whoever you need to support. Because I know in our culture, for a lot of us, that you're not the only one that you need to support, right? You need to support your family. And again, for some of my friends here who gets the graduate assistantship or gets Fulbright, that's their motivation. Because when they're here, they're doing what they're doing, they work really hard, they get paid, and they can send their family money. They can support their family that way. And that's how they move forward. Okay. So think about what motivates you, like one of that questions. What motivates you? What motivates you? What motivates me is different. So I can't really, again, there's no one clear cut of everything. There's no such thing. It's just that everyone's different. Again, humans are very interesting. We are very interesting, but it's the way that you look at yourself is very important as well. Okay. And, first step can be scary. It is very scary. But again, look at how in the long term, this first step is going to affect you and the people around you. And, what motivates you the most. Okay.
Thank you so much, Kak Atika. Really thank you so much for everything that you have given to us, the lesson, the experience, the motivation, everything, Kak Atika. Really thank you so much. And for Nurul Fadila, Inanda, Lisa, Kristen Nadila, Karnia, Nurul Arofa, you can contact us with our official Instagram for claim the credit. So this is our official Instagram. Just contact for get the credit. Anyway, Kak Atika, before we end this webinar, we have certificate online to you right now. Okay, so we want to document perpetuate. So host, please stand by. So everyone, maybe we follow us with on your camera. We will taking picture together. Come on. Okay. Okay, I will counting from 3, 2, 1. Maybe once again. Okay, everyone, please. Your camera, please. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you. Maybe the host can, we want to taking picture together. And certificate we can send to Atika later. Okay, maybe the host, please to stop the start screen because it's time for taking picture together. Okay. Okay. Can you remind to everyone to start camera on camera, please, everyone. Okay, we're still waiting. Okay, come on. Okay. Okay. So yeah, feel free. You can do this, or whatever style that you prefer. Okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, please, Panika, stand by. 1, 2, 3. Maybe once again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, for the slide 2. Oh my God, we have 5 slides. So many. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, the last one. 1, 2. Okay. Atika, once again, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to share us a lot of things. Hopefully that we can follow your journey with our own journey, with our step. Thank you so much to all the participants who joined us until now. Thank you so much. And yeah, we really sorry for our mistake. And hopefully that we can do this webinar again to motivate all the students, especially in Indonesia, to study abroad and get scholarships. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone. And Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.